reveal the truth to those that are willing to hear and believe. The second is to conceal the truth from those who willingly rejected the truth because of their calloused hearts. Now, in the time that Jesus spoke these parables, the Hebrews or the Jews, they were calloused people. And what they expected to come didn't come. And so they were rather rejecting of Christ's word. And in that, they weren't willing to hear what he had to say. They just wanted to trap him. And anyway, so we're going to move on into the parable of the sower. On that day, Jesus went out of the house and was sitting by the sea. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got into a boat and sat down, while the whole crowd stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, "Consider the sower who went out to sow. As he sowed, some seed fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured them. Other seed fell on the rocky ground where it didn't have much soil, and it grew up quickly, since the soil wasn't deep. But when the sun came up, it scorched, and since it had no root, it withered away. Other seed fell among the thorns, and the thorns came up and choked it. Still other seed fell on the good ground and produced fruit, some 100, some 60, some 30 times what was sown. Let anyone who has ears, let him hear." All right, so we'll stop right there for a minute, and we want to address the different types of soils. So we've got some seeds fell on the wayside, some seeds fell on rocky places, some seeds among thorns, and some fell on good soil. Now this was, the whole thing is around, he's basically talking about the hearts of men. There are 4 different types or 4 different hearts of men. The first, you have a hard heart. It's futile but hard. 2, you have a shallow heart that is fertile but depthless. Worldly heart is the third, thorny soil, fertile but possessed. The understanding heart is good soil, fertile but prepared. So really what we're talking about here is the soil as well as the seed. The soil has to be prepared properly or it won't receive the seed. Now in this particular picture, we're looking at a field that has 4 parts and 3 of which have not been prepared. And it's the first 3. The first 3 are actually talking about the hearts of those, and they've rejected the word being Christ. They don't want to hear anything he has to say. It sounds good, but not really, not today. The lesson here is a simple one. If we expect the seed, the word of God, to bear fruit, the heart must be made ready. And the hard heart must be broken. The shallow heart must be given depth. The worldly heart must be taught that the things of this world are temporal. We go Mark 8, 36 and 37. Well, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange? This requires time, work, and patience. You know, there are some people I've shared the word or the gospel with, and they're like, get out of my face. I don't want to hear it. I've shared the gospel with some that are like, wow, I never knew that. And they were receptive. But the next time I see them, they're in a bad place. A bad place. So it's like, yeah, they didn't really receive the word. They did, but it was taken away. The thorns. And I'll say that I witnessed the thorns firsthand in my own life because I was a believer at the age of 10. 1970, I gave my heart to Christ. And I felt like I was strong, felt good about my belief system and all that I was. Going through high school, I mean, I literally packed my Bible up and down the halls of school. Yeah, but did people listen? Well, not always. Didn't matter. I wanted them to know that I was a believer and that the gospel was real to me. But then, graduated high school. That was one of the stupidest things I ever did, you know? Because then I got stupid. Yeah, you know, teenagers, they know it all, right? I did. I knew it all. Anyway, I found all the little things that you're not supposed to learn. Well, you don't learn them in church. How to smoke, how to drink, how to partake in the wildlife. There. Weeds grew up around me and they choked it out. What little I understood of the word didn't stick. I mean, I knew Christ was real. I knew that what he had done was real, but I didn't live like I knew that. And then it got worse before it got better because then I got in trouble with the law, ended up in prison. Thorns took over, took it out. I've known believers that once they, in the word, they were excited and they ran with it. It's like, how do you do that? I couldn't do that, I guess. The excitement wore off, but I was more enthralled with finding out what's out there in the world, as most teenagers do. Once I landed in prison, it was a whole different ballgame. It showed me that he still loved me. My punishment was not from God. My punishment was from man. But because I disobeyed not only man's laws, but God's laws. Because it says don't steal. I did that. Don't commit idolatry. I did that. You know, I think there's 10 of them, and I think I covered them all. Wow. But God rode through the storm with me the whole time. I was packing my Bible up and down the tier in the prison. My own cellmate says, you better put that thing away. Somebody's going to stab you, stick you, you know. And one young man I witnessed to, I says, hey, this is what it's about. You give your life to Christ. You come over on this side. I can't do that yet. I gotta clean up my life. No, Christ does that for you. You come dirty. Christ will take care of the rest. God blessed me during that time because I grew up real fast, learning that life was not about me, about His Word, living His Word. Not living my life, but living His Word in my life. I hope it's making sense to you because I'm running with it. Anyway, so even the word tongue tangled here. The disciples even said, "Why are you talking to the people in parables?" Well, because the ones that need to hear it, they're rejecting it. And the ones that want to hear it, those are the ones that are going to make sense of it. They're going to allow it to sink in and become part of them. So he at that time, in verse 18, Isaiah's prophecy is fulfilled in them, which says, "You will listen and listen, but never understand. You will look and look, but never perceive. For this people's heart has grown callous. Their ears are hard of hearing, and they have shut their eyes. Otherwise, they might see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and turn back, and I would heal them." Given in Isaiah. Hebrew people were hard-headed, and especially during this time. And furthermore, he says, "Blessed are your eyes because they do see, and your ears because they do hear. For truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see the things you see, but didn't see them. To hear the things you hear, but didn't hear them." Pharaoh was hard-hearted. I didn't count the plagues, but I know there was at least 7 of them. God said, "Let my people go so my people may come and worship me." And even a couple, 3 different times, he said, "Forgive me for I have sinned." He told this to Moses. "I've sinned against your God." He says, "I will let your people go." And then he changed his mind. God says, "Okay, here comes the next one." Pharaoh was hard-hearted. He wouldn't understand that God was in control. And he's going to bring the goods. And he says he's going to bring them. He kept sending Moses and Aaron back to tell them, this is what's going on. And tell Pharaoh he's going to pay for it. Yeah, all right, whatever. So let's get back to the parable of the sower. Jesus explained it so that everybody could understand. So listen to the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is the one sown along the path, and the one sown on rocky ground. This is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. But he has no root and is short-lived. When distress and persecution comes because of the word, immediately he falls away. Now the one sown among the thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the worries of this age and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. But the one sown on the good ground, this is the one who hears and understands the word who does produce fruit and yield some 100, some 60, some 30 times sown. It's not that we go punch people in the face and tell them they need to be a Christian. Although sometimes I'd like to. No, no. Just kidding. But some of them are hard-headed. Some of them won't take it. They won't understand it. They won't even listen to you. It's not your job to make them understand it. It's your job just to put it out there. God does the rest. How many farmers do you know go out and put a seed in the ground and 2 days later go back and dig it up to see if it's growing? It doesn't happen. I mean, he doesn't even check it 1 week later, right? He waits for that little dude to pop up out of the ground. Then he knows he's got a crop. So then it's his job to put water and fertilizer and whatever else to keep that plant growing. Now, that can go to extreme. You can put too much water on a plant and it turns yellow, right? Too much fertilizer will burn them up. So with the hearts out there, you have to be so careful. When you're planting seeds, you have to make sure that the ground is ready. Sometimes that's hard to depict. Because you see, Paul, he was one of those Christian killers. He wanted to kill Christians rather than save them until Christ met him on the road to Damascus. And he said, "Why are you persecuting me?" He says, "Oh, Lord." Right? He recognized Christ, the Lord. And he did as Christ said from that forward. He changed. He went from one extreme to another. He's no longer killing Christians, but now he's creating them. I was thinking about this the other day, and it's like, what happens if somebody doesn't know anything about potatoes? Right? We don't even know that that's an edible plant or produce, except for when we dig up the ground, right? They're buried. You never see them. So how many people looking at a potato plant go, "Oh, that's a potato"? We do, because we see them all the time. Somebody who's never seen one, "Oh, that's just a weed." They would pull that up in a heartbeat. But it's good produce. It's something edible. When we plant a seed, we plant it because we know we're searching Christians, searching for, think of the word, I'm sorry. We're looking for people to come alongside to share the gospel, move in that fashion. So we can generally tell when people have that aura about them, that they receive the word. And when we share it, oh yeah. And they either want some or they don't, right? We got to plant seeds knowing what we're planting. And you don't plant a cherry tree thinking it's going to be a potato. Right? Anyway, I lost my train, but I want you to know Christ spoke to us in parables so that we could understand, we could dig in, that we could become partakers of his word. Understanding. So when we walk out there in this community this week, Are they going to see Christ in you? Is it with a smile? Or are you cursing them because they did something wrong in traffic? Do we purposefully and successfully reflect who Christ is with our being? That they would say, I want what that guy has or that lady has. Yeah, that's how we need to be. And when we're planting seeds, we're not going to go out and dig up the plant just to see if it's growing. We're planting seeds knowing that God is in control. God is going to make that plant grow. Like all these farmers out here. You put a corn seed in the ground, they expect a corn stalk. Potatoes, beets, whatever. With those seeds you plant. And it's with generosity, the giving part. It's with our what's the word? I'm sorry. But God is using us in an amazing way. If we purposefully share his word, people will see it. People will go, what does he have that I need? Because I know when I taste the world, there was a lot of, oh, crap. And it didn't come back good in my favor. So it's a must that we live a life that pleases God. Is grateful, gracious, and grateful for us. We're his creation. Made us move the word to carry it out there. Understand and appreciate it. I'm going to finish with that. If there's anybody here this morning, if you've got any question about what God can do for you, if you have sin in your life, confess. I'd like to pray with you. I'd like to open that door and say, okay, today's a new day, a new beginning. You know, I messed up in 1970, but I came back in 1980. God showed me who God was. Don't wait for God to show you in his word. Don't let it collect dust on the shelf, but make it part of your everyday. I've got a new book, a Bible, and it's got 4 different readings each day. It's got Genesis, it's got Psalms, it's got Proverbs, and it's got Matthew. And so far I'm on day 30, but what an amazing read. You get different portions, and it's funny how they all kind of tie in. But it's been my new go-to in the mornings. Yeah, I love it. But I have to plan about 40 minutes to read it. And it's been exciting for me because it's stuff that I've read before. I mean, I read through the Bible when I was in jail. I mean, I had to have something to read, right? And so I read through the Bible, but I can't believe there's stuff that I didn't read in there. Maybe I didn't perceive. Very cool. Very cool. And so now I'm learning about Pharaoh and all of that. And that guy was nutcase. I'm excited because I know that I'm gaining with every new day. I know that his word is the cause of that. that I can get up in the morning and I can smile and say, Lord, this is a new day. Let's do it. Who do you want me to talk to today? Let it be part of your everyday speech. If you don't say Jesus at least one day or at least one time a day, then what's wrong? What's wrong? Jesus needs to be our whole life. He gave his whole life for us. So, anyway, that being said, we'll begin our invitation. And if you want to pray with me, come on up. Let's talk.